Hi, I am here to demonstrate how to create a visual pattern which will help us find all the other prescribers that all patients of a specified prescriber have gotten a prescription from. Now I'm going to give this visual pattern a name. I'm going to give it the name Find Prescribers. Next, I'm going to add a description. Find all the other prescribers. That all patients of a specified prescriber have gotten a prescription from. The next step would be to analyze the schema. So here's our schema. We have the prescriber vertex submitted by edge, the claims vertex, the associated edge, and the patient vertex. And we know that each patient can be associated with one or more claims, and each claim can only be submitted by a single prescriber. And these are the vertices and edges that we would need to create our visual pattern. Now I'm going to start creating the visual pattern. I'm going to first pick the vertex patterns and edge patterns that we need for this visual pattern, the ones I mentioned before. I'm going to now merge the claims vertex patterns together. And then I'm going to add a parameter to the visual pattern. I'm going to give this parameter the name prescriber ID, and we can use this to specify the ID of the prescriber. Now I'm going to give this prescriber vertex pattern the name P1, and then I'm going to give this claims vertex pattern the name C1. And what this vertex pattern does is that it finds all the patients of the prescriber whose prescriber ID we're going to specify. And so this pattern is incomplete. We still need to find all the other prescribers of this patient, of all these patients. So I'm going to complete this vertex pattern by picking the vertex and edge patterns that we need. So next I'm going to merge the patient's vertex pattern together. I'm going to merge the claims vertex pattern together. Next thing to do is to give this claims vertex pattern the name, and then give this second prescriber vertex pattern the name P2. Because we're trying to find all the other prescribers, we need to filter this prescriber so that it's not the same as the prescriber ID or the prescriber whose prescriber ID we're going to specify. So we're going to make sure that the prescriber P2 is not the same as the prescriber P1, and I'm going to do the same thing with the claims so that the claims C2 are not the same with the claims C1. Then next I'm going to set P2 as our output. So what this visual pattern does is that it finds all the prescribers P2 who are not P1, who have submitted claims C2 to all these patients, and all these patients have also received a prescription from prescriber P1. Next, I'm going to save this pattern. Then I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna use the vertex ID PRE69. And here are our results. Here we have all the other prescribers that all patients of the specified prescriber PRE69 have gotten a prescription from.